Last night on Raw, Triple H revealed the brand new World Heavyweight Championship, but who should be the first World Heavyweight Champion? Now, of course, I'm saying the first World Heavyweight Champion, the inaugural one, because they didn't really clarify if this world title will continue the lineage of the original World Championship, the one that was in WCW and then in WWE and was retired in 2014. They didn't clarify that. I would love for it to technically continue that lineage just because then they can constantly refer back to that history and it's just, add some already prestige onto this new World Championship. It's not needed. That's just me nitpicking, if you will. I would like it, but hopefully they clarify that eventually. But regardless, at Night of Champions next month, who is going to be leaving as the new world champion? Of course, I expect this title to be the Raw World Championship. Obviously, this is coming up before the draft. I don't expect Roman Reigns to be drafted to Monday Night Raw. I suspect him to be drafted to Friday Night SmackDown, as I'm sure most people do. And listen, the last 24 hours have honestly been fun on social media, man. Everybody's throwing out their ideas. I want to see this person as the champ. I want to see this person as the champ. This person's long overdue. I got a couple ideas that I think are definitely top tier ideas for who could potentially be the world champion, and maybe not even the first world champion. Maybe just sometime this year, maybe sometime by WrestleMania 40, who knows? But there's a certain list of guys that I think should definitely be top candidates to hold this world heavyweight title. I'm going to start off with one that honestly nobody else has said. I've literally not seen one person say this name. Edge, the rated R superstar himself. So it was actually earlier today, I believe Edge was on the Impulsive podcast, Logan Paul's podcast, and I did not watch it yet, but I saw a quote on Twitter, which I'm going to read for you right now. Edge stated, and I quote, "At most, I might have another year in me to be able to do it at this level and still be able to do it at an elite level where I can still hang." Now, of course, the reason this is noteworthy is because we have all been speculating since last summer that Edge would be retiring this summer in Toronto, and I really didn't want to see that. I think Edge has still got it in him to push another year. I mean, obviously, he knows himself best, but every time Edge is on TV, he's literally, and I'm going to go out on a limb here, one of the best parts, if not the best parts of television. That's his matches, that's his promos, that's everything Edge does. And with WrestleMania 40 coming up next year, a big milestone, I would love to see Edge on that card. One, because it's WrestleMania 40, and two, because it's in Philadelphia, and I'll be at WrestleMania 40, and I want to see Edge have his last WrestleMania in Philadelphia, in person. Do it for me personally, Edge. I'd love to see it. But to get back on the tracks here, if Edge is going to be pushing in another year, I would love to see Edge get one more run as the World Heavyweight Champion. This was the guy who was the World Heavyweight Champion and then was forced to retire a week later and never lost the World Heavyweight Championship. And me personally, I've said it here on the channel, I would have had Edge beat Roman Reigns a couple years ago for the Universal Championship, and then none of this over the last few years would have ever happened. That's what I would have done. But that, of course, never happened. And honestly, they were going long term with Roman Reigns. They passed through Edge, they passed through a million people for Roman Reigns. But now we have an opportunity to give Edge that final World Championship run that, let's be honest, he deserves. And just through watching interviews and this, that, and the other over the years, Edge is not the guy who's going to be like, I want the title and I want to have it for a long time. He'll probably, if it were to happen, win the World Championship, maybe retain it once or twice, and then drop it a few months later. He's not going to go have a super long run, especially if he is about to retire, whether it's this summer, next summer, whatever it may be. But let's be real here. If there's one Hall of Fame legend guy who should have a run with the World Heavyweight Championship, it's the guy that never lost the World Heavyweight Championship, and that is Edge. He never had to come back and give us all this great work that he's done over the last few years, and he deserves to be rewarded for it. I believe Edge should be at the top of the list to have a run with the new World Heavyweight Championship. Another guy that has gotten passed over for Roman Reigns, and another guy that I would have had defeat Roman Reigns if it were up to me, going back to Clash at the Castle last year, Drew McIntyre, man. Drew McIntyre had his reign with the WWE Championship and nobody saw it. I don't know how many people were watching WWE at the time. I really wasn't into the pandemic shows, so I did not watch basically any week-to-week shows during 2020. And then, of course, there was nobody in the building. Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship reign exists in history, but it's unfortunately forgotten because there was nobody there. McIntyre should have beat Roman Reigns back at Clash of the Castle. Whatever, we're here now. Now there's a new World Championship, and Drew Drew McIntyre should absolutely be at the top of the list, as well as Edge and as other people that I will state, to possibly be the first or just down the line a world champion. And me personally, like, I don't know when Drew McIntyre is coming back. If he's coming back, there's all these rumors, and I think Drew McIntyre will be back. I don't see him leaving. I think some people just said he was injured, he's taking a break, whatever it may be. But whenever McIntyre is back, I would love to see him turn heel, especially because he's been a babyface for a while, and I think it would just make sense. You know, he got beat up by the Bloodline a bunch, he lost the Intercontinental Championship match at WrestleMania. McIntyre can come back fired up, fed up with losing, and target the World Championship and just be a dominator, man. And I think that'd be super badass for Drew McIntyre, and I think he definitely deserves his flowers at the top of the mountain for the World Championship. And again, especially as a heel, I think would be great television. There's definitely some honorable mentions here, man. When there was no World Championship on Raw and the United States title was the focal point, as it still has been, you know, throughout this year so far, Bobby Lashley was one of those guys, one of the top guys on Raw, holding it down. I'm not saying he's got to be the first champion, but I would not mind seeing Bobby Lashley have a run at the World Championship. I think he's one of those guys who does not get the credit he deserves. Sometimes people give him a little bit of credit, but I feel like there's just not a lot of love for Bobby Lashley. At least that's what I see on social media. Obviously in the arena is different. Everybody usually, he's a guy who gets a big pop. Everybody's doing the thing with him. But Bobby Lashley, I'd love to see him get a run. Why did I do that? With the World Championship. You could throw Sami Zayn in there as an honorable mention. You can throw Kevin Owens in there as an honorable mention. A lot of people want to see LA Knight, win the Money in the Bank this year, possibly cash in on the World Championship. Obviously, all of these guys, you know, eventually Roman Reigns isn't going to be the Universal Champion anymore. He's going to need some opponents, but I'm just Roman Reigns, Cody, that whole situation on SmackDown, which I'm assuming it's going to be SmackDown. At least that's what I would do. I'm just not even thinking about, man. Not to go off topic, but like, now that we have this new World Championship, I can very much see Roman Reigns holding the WWE Universal Championship. Hopefully we just get it unified like after SummerSlam and it's just the WWE title. But regardless, I could literally see Roman continuing his reign till WrestleMania 40. And I know that's not like, oh, hot take might drop. I know a lot of other people have said that, but especially now that we've had this world title, man, I could see them stretching Cody versus Roman Part 2 till WrestleMania 40. And would I necessarily be complaining? I don't know, man, because now that we got this new world title, like, do I care if Roman holds the undisputed Universal WWE Millennium Decade, whatever it is, championship all the way to Philadelphia next year? A little bit. Not really at the same time. Like, I don't know, man. That's a whole nother situation. I don't want to get into that, but some of these other names that I'm saying, honorable mentions, LA Knight, Zayn, Kevin Owens, I'd love Shinsuke Nakamura to get a shot. I'd love Finn Balor to get a shot. These are obviously a lot of names that could have possibly, not all of them, but could have possibly had runs with the World Championships over the last few years had Roman not held both of them. So it's definitely opened up a lot of opportunity, and you see the excitement online. People, you know, are throwing out names left and right. This guy should get this guy should get a run. This guy should get a run, as I mentioned earlier. So at the end of the day, it's an exciting time. But one last name, and I think you guys know where I'm heading, that's at the top of the list. These are my top 3 guys who I think should be in the running for the World Championship, and that is, of course, Seth freaking Rollins. Now listen, Rollins could possibly be the one. I know this, some people are still floating this idea out there. Rollins could still possibly be the one to dethrone Roman Reigns. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we could easily see Rollins versus Cody versus Reigns maybe at WrestleMania 40 next year. I think that's a big possibility, big triple threat. I'd love to see it. But just talking about right here, right now, Night of Champions, I mean, Seth Rollins should have been holding a world championship a long time ago, man. The best heel work of his career, naturally turning babyface. Him and Cody Rhodes, I'd say, are tied for the top babyface in the company. I mean, it just makes the most sense, man. Seth Rollins as the World Heavyweight Champion, being the guy on Monday Night Raw, no longer in Roman Reigns' shadow on the, you know, if they're on the same show, no longer not having a championship, a world championship, I should say, because of Roman Reigns. Rollins just holding it down, doing the best work of his career as the world champion on Monday Night Raw. That just writes itself, man, and he absolutely deserves it. I'd love to see it. I would love to see, hear me out here, I would love to see Edge win the World Championship. And I feel like some people wouldn't like that, to be like, oh, already putting it on a Hall of Famer old guy, but whatever. I'm just putting out my ideas here. I'd love to see Drew McIntyre. I'd love to see Edge, let me get this straight, win the World Championship at Night of Champions. Drop it to Drew McIntyre July, August, maybe SummerSlam, maybe Money in the Bank. Does not have to have a long reign with it. And then McIntyre holds it for a couple of months, maybe Survivor Series, and drops it to Seth Rollins. I don't want to see, for now, 2 super long reigns with the World Championship. I'd love to get some names on this list over the next, by the end of the year, I don't mind if there's 2-3 names already holding the World Championship, just to give the world title and Raw, assuming that'll be over there on Raw, something different, a different feel to Roman Reigns. And those 3 guys in that order, I think would be great television. Listen, at the end of the day, man, these are just my ideas, but let me know down below in the comments, who do you guys want to see hold the World Heavyweight Championship come May 27th at Night of Champions? Put it down below in the comments. Be sure to go follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Noah Nation Vlogs. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll be back for more tomorrow. Peace!